Enter episode 16 with the introduction of the Shellraiser, Fishface in combat, and the Turtles' first fan, who ends up being a nuisance that hinders any great things about the story arc. By the way, this is Double RPG here with another episodic review of the Ninja Turtles cartoon on Nickelodeon. Today we take a look at the episode which the Turtles have their first fan, and things aren't going to be very pretty. As I said, be prepared for what I have to say because this episode is definitely the weakest by far. Watch the review to find out, okay? Anyway, here's episode 16, The Pulverizer. The episode begins with the Krang wondering where the power cell that the Turtles took from them is that they took away in episode 12 from Leatherhead. Having trouble locating the energy source, it becomes very clear when Donnie has it as a power source to run the newest vehicle that Leatherhead was using his home for. Within the subway, Leo, Raph, and Mikey witness Donatello's arrival with the new van in place. As he explains what the vehicle is called, Mikey does not hesitate and calls it the Shellraiser. Surprisingly, everyone agrees that the name suits the vehicle really well, and the Turtles take it for a drive through the subway and onto the streets of New York. While they are having fun with testing out the Shellraiser, Raph checks out things from the sunroof and tells Leo to stop the drive. When they look at the monitor, they see the purple dragons are stealing something from one of the Krang's hideouts, and they are about to go stop them when some guy in a Ninja Turtles costume tries to put up a fight. Initially, the Turtles think that he is brave, but digresses as soon as they see the wannabe Ninja Turtle, known as the Pulverizer, get his butt kicked very easily. The Turtles come in to try to stop Fong and his comrades, while the Pulverizer watches with amazement. Everything seems to go well for our heroes until Fong escapes with the Krang's technology because of the fans' interference. Disappointed by their failure, they tell the wannabe to go home, but the Pulverizer clumsily gets his bandana stuck on the door to the Shellraiser. He gets dragged back to their lair, and the Turtles become disappointed and wonder what to do with him. Mikey becomes enthralled by the Pulverizer being their first fan when he explains how he knows them, and then he goes in and causes some discomfort before finding a piece of the Krang tech on Donnie's work table. The Pulverizer says that the Purple Dragon stole the tech from the warehouse, and the Turtles realize that Baxter Stockman would want it so badly, and this forces all of them except for Donatello to go search for them. At Baxter's hideout, he finishes implanting the Krang's control unit into Fishface's leg motors, and Zever has full control of his movements to take on anything. Back at the sewers, Don continues to work on the Shellraiser for better use, while the Pulverizer tries to learn about using a bow staff. Because of his lack of self-defense and giddy emotions, Don takes the liberty to train Pulverizer with the basics. Things don't work out too smoothly, even when the Pulverizer trips into Splinter's room, to which he tells Donatello that he shouldn't be where they live. While he agrees, Donnie ensures Splinter that he is only teaching the fan about the basics in combat and nothing more, and the Ninja Master concedes to allow his son to continue training him under his responsibility. Back at Stockman's hideout, Leo and the others arrive to try and stop the criminals from using the Krang's technology for their own purposes, but Fishface comes in to deliver an extensive butt-whooping to the Turtles, even going as far as biting Raph and poisoning him in the process. Ouch. Mikey calls Donnie for help through the T-phone, and the tech guru heads over along with the Pulverizer. Nearing their arrival, the Pulverizer has really bad driving skills, and begins wondering if all the training is worth it based on him having second thoughts. Donnie puts the pedal to the metal to keep moving forward, and he arrives at the nick of time by driving through the wall of the lair to make the criminals and Fishface retreat in full fashion. However, the impact of driving through the wall causes the container for the power cell to emit its energy source out of the shield. Donnie cures Raph from his poison, and he criticizes the Pulverizer for his cowardice. Mike interrupts things to tell Donnie why the Shellraiser is emitting a weird aura, and they discover the energy is coming out of the power cell. They end up trying to escape, but the Krang are right on their tail with their vans and even droids who have the power of flight. Battles occur from driving and up on the roof of the Turtles' vehicle, but they are stopped when the Shellraiser crashes into a wall. A full fight ensues for the Turtles while Pulverizer watches through the monitors. However, he doesn't pay attention to his surroundings when a Krang arrives from underneath to steal the power cell. After knowing the power went out, Pulverizer tries to stop the Krang, but is brushed aside while the alien makes his escape. Pulverizer tries to go after the Krang from escaping by helicopter, and Donnie tries to rush over to his aid after the devoted fan gets his butt kicked. Coming to his aid was very noble, but at the cost of the Krang escaping with the power cell. The Turtles admit that part of this was Pulverizer's fault, as well as Donnie's, but they agree that their fan must leave before anything else goes wrong. As the Pulverizer leaves, the Turtles make a tough effort to get the Shellraiser back home with little progress being made. But Donnie had the emergency brake on the whole time that totally hindered them from moving faster. After that, episode 16 comes to an end. Like I said, this episode has a major problem that prevents it from being stellar. But let us get on with the good before I rant about how crap that the Pulverizer is. First off, the introduction to the Shellraiser was pretty sick, as we finally see the turtles use a better means for ground transportation than the separatable buggies that they used in episode 10. I mean, we saw their first impressions while riding the vehicle, and we saw them use it for their battle against the Krang. The battle with the Krang at the end while riding the Shellraiser reminded me of the turtles fighting the Stone Warriors with their van against the Technodrome tank in episode 4 of the 1987 show. Very reminiscent in some regards if you ask me. Next up, the turtles battling Fishface for the first time was pretty wicked. It's a usual theme that we see heroes getting beaten up by an adversary that is old or given a newer appearance. But Fishface looks like he'll be more of a threat to the turtles than Dog Pound. Not saying that he wasn't difficult, but Fishface's agility looks like it'll be a testament to see how fast our heroes can dodge, attack, and parry all at once. Even fighting both Dog Pound and Fishface is going to be a true battle of will for the heroes in the half shell. Other than that, those are the only things I can think of that made the episode somewhat redeeming. However, that is what it is because this episode is far from full redemption. Where do I begin with this rant? On a side note though, I liked it how Roger Craig Smith from Sonic the Hedgehog and Resident Evil fame voiced the character, but that's the only great thing about the Pulverizer. First of all, the design of the character being that of someone who would fit the age limit of the Turtles is very uninspiring. I know that this happens with almost anyone and anything, but with the Turtles being heroes gives us the indication that the Pulverizer should have been younger to look up to the crew as admirers. Not like this! I mean, who could take a guy like this very seriously? Just look at the suit he wears and the unorthodox personality he bears. Hey, did I just rhyme? Just anything he does to try to be cool is easily detracted by his clumsy behavior. I mean, he jeopardizes the Turtles' battle against Fong and his cohorts to stop them from stealing Krang Tech, and he drove really badly when he mentions that he only drove an ice cream truck at 8 miles an hour. He was only admiring the Turtles when watching them from the monitors in the Shellraiser when the Krang stole the power cell, and he did not put any effort to take his training all that seriously. It just seems like he wanted to see the Turtles in action, and that's it. If you ask me, I think we have a Raspberry Award for worst minor character in this show by far. Most of the others who were good or bad were not all that terrible. But looking at the Pulverizer, just wow. He really takes the cake. Now to be fair, he did have a few good moments like him delivering a cheap shot to one of the purple dragons and trying to get the power cell back the best he can. But those are not enough saving graces to save his character from being, well, great. But then again, we have to have at least one lousy excuse for a character to be on the show. He may show up again at some point, but we are going to have to see much improvement on his part before making any more mistakes ever again. I guess that the moral lesson of this episode is that everything is not all about show that makes one a hero or very strong, as you have to be true to yourself and put in so much dedication if you want to get up to that spot. Take a look at the episode from the first season of the 2003 series with how Mikey wanted to be a superhero called Turtle Titan, and look where that got him. It got him nowhere, but he redeemed himself at the end by being true to himself and saving his idol superhero. This episode, on the other hand, is a mockery that is unbearable to look at. With those gripes out of the frying pan, episode 16 gets a 5 out of 10. It's okay with some aspects like the Shellraiser and Fishface, but the Pulverizer being there to deter the Turtles from achieving awesomeness makes this doofus an eyesore that is hard to get off. Okay guys, that will wrap up my review of episode 16 of the TMNT cartoon on Nick. If you think things will get worse from here on out, then don't be afraid, people. Things will do a complete 180 in the next episode called TCRI, and it is one that you do not want to miss. Be sure to rate and favorite this video, as well as leaving your positive and negative feedback in the comments below. Also, hit the subscribe button to support me and all of us who love the show, because we don't need any more wannabe heroes trying to hinder any awesomeness coming from the Turtles. This is RRPG signing off, and I'll catch you later. If you'll excuse me, I got to do justice to this episode.
Welcome! Punch!
Heroism. That's how it's done.